I'd like to call the meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, November 9th, 2020 meeting of the Chappaqua Central School District Board of Education. May I have a motion to open the public meeting? Second? Second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Holly McCall.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a short agenda today. We have scheduled this special meeting to approve contracts related to the analysis of the town's form-based code. So since we don't have a superintendent's report or presentation or president's report, we will go straight to public comment in case there's anyone here who would like to make a comment on the topic for today or on any other matter. Please come up to the microphone and identify yourself. No? Okay, we have no public comments today.
Okay, recommend 2.1 instructional as presented.
We have a motion and a second on 2.1.
I'll move 2.1.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Okay, we now have our consent agenda, which comprises items 3.1 through 3.5. May I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I move the consent agenda. A second.
Okay. So we can have a discussion now on the documents presented. Let's see. So these are documents that summarize what we agreed to do last week. We will have 4 tasks that can be accomplished by our consultants. 1 is to create a multiplier. 2 is for enrollment projections. 3 is for an analysis of the fiscal impacts to CCSD. And 4th is a capacity study. Does anyone have any comments or discussion on those 4 items? These would be items 3.1, 3.2, and 3.4.
No, I just would like to say that I'm in favor of this as we discussed at our meeting last week. I think they will really help us further analyze the form-based code and the DGEIS and allow us to put in appropriate comments to the town board so that we can accurately assess the impact of the potential code on our school district. So I'm very much in favor of moving forward with these as we discussed at our last meeting.
I'm also very much in favor of moving forward. My only comment, and I think we discussed this last week, but just as we're approving these today, is that when we look at the multiplier piece of this, that although the DGEIS is projecting that it would only be 1 and 2 bedroom apartments being built, that's not actually something that's codified in the code, that it's just a guess, so that in looking at the multipliers, we need to look at, that possibility, but also the possibility of larger apartments being built as well.
Yeah, I agree with that, Hillary. In fact, I was going to bring that up because in the ESI contract, they do make reference to the form-based code in the first paragraph of the letter. And I think they're just simply referring to the form-based code, but we will ask Allison about that.
Yeah.
But the first paragraph is saying that we understand that the Hamlet of Chappaqua is changing its zoning code, which may allow approximately 1,000 new 1 to 2 bedroom apartment units. And I just want to clarify that that's an assumption that they won't necessarily stick with, and they will just analyze that assumption as well. Allison, can you speak?
Yeah, it's, I think that they, in their letter, the first paragraph, they're just providing some background. They're stating, what the DGEIS currently says, but that does not limit the scope of what they're going to do and to look at.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay.
I think those were all the comments I had. Warren and
The only
Holly.
thing I have, I know we spoke about last week, and I specifically how long this would take. He said it might be 30 days, but I mean, we just shut down Roaring Brook today, right, because of COVID. The effects of COVID virus could impact the work that we're doing. And I believe that we shouldn't put any kind of time limits on these consultants. I mean, we're spending probably in excess of $50,000 now. We'll have spent in excess of $50,000 to do this. I'd like to ensure that there's no assurance of what the town board will do, that we're going to spend this money for our district, for our community, for the children of our community, current and future, that we at least have time to present these in writing to the town and to the town's consultants. I guess I was still in this that the town consultants would not have done as thorough an analysis on this that we're actually now have to do this. If we're going to spend this money, I just want to make sure that we don't put a artificial time on this that it seems like the town is rushing to do. And I think we need to let our consultants do the work they need to do to get a thorough report that accurately determines what the effect of this delivery said. The DGIS was 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, but also maybe more 3 bedroom apartments, a different mix of apartments, as well as some of the other stuff.
Allison, do you think that is something, I know that you're going to present comments on our behalf, and so I agree with Laura, and the timing could become an issue simply because we are in the midst of a COVID pandemic, and it's obviously very unpredictable as far as the impacts to our work and our timing.
That's true, and the holiday season as well, if we're running, through Thanksgiving and into December, I know that a big component of the capacity study is conducting interviews with staff members, and, so there's, my suggestion would be to speak further with the consultants and get a very conservative estimate of what their time would be. Maybe 6 weeks is too short. Maybe it's realistically more like 8 weeks. What is that number? And then present that to the town board, because generally when you're presenting comments and asking for more time, it is more effective to give a proposed date and then negotiate from there. But hopefully, if they're acting in good faith and want the information, especially the capacity study, which would be very helpful to them to inform, even what their own consultants may be doing, you would think that they would want to wait and receive the school district's information.
Right, especially since we are doing the work to get them the accurate information which they would want to have.
Yes, so we will certainly be making that point in our public comments tomorrow and following up in writing as well.
Okay, thank you. Is that satisfactory to everyone? Okay, yeah, okay.
I just wanted to make one comment. I know that the town board has stated that this is work that their consultants perhaps could do, but despite the fact that we're in a tight budget, I still support us taking on this work as a district, knowing that this analysis is going to be the most useful for us to make our comments back to them if we are able to be the customer of the work, rather than relying on a third-hand party. So I just want to acknowledge that I still do support the work being taken on by the district.
I agree, Paul. I mean, we're independent entity. We have an independent consultant do this, and it gives us a second data point.
Yes.
And should give the town, or gives us a data point. Should give the town a second data point. They should be more than happy to receive that data point from us from an independent consultant.
I want to agree with that as well, and I think that even though I think we are all aligned in terms of wanting to have the best development experience and revitalization of downtown as possible, our interests are not technically aligned here. It's not maybe a legal conflict of interest in terms of having their consultant do a study on this, on, you know, school capacity and impact on the school. But from a practical standpoint, our interests are not completely aligned here. So I think it's really critical that we hire our own consultants who then we can have a conversation so that we can arrive at a place that we're both comfortable.
I agree with all of that, and to add to it, we also represent residents of the town of Mount Pleasant, and in their interest, I think it's important for us to have an independent study. Just, it may sound like a formality, but the town of Newcastle does not represent those residents, whereas we do, so I think that we have an obligation to present an independent study for those constituents of ours who are
Totally.
from that town.
That's an excellent point.
That's just adding to what everyone else said.
So can I just summarize the next steps? So Allison's going to draft a letter for us to send
We have to vote.
Oh,
We still have to vote, but,
okay, so let me just,
but I'll give you the opportunity, you know, you and John, Allison, if there's anything else you'd like to add to the discussion?
let me rephrase that. I think whatever we do in the next few minutes, we need to memorialize and send to the town of Newcastle ahead of the public hearing. And then perhaps Allison, on our behalf, can attend the public hearing and share some comments on behalf of the district as we move through this process.
Yes, agreed. And, yeah, we can't agree to that for the last time too, but we're going to proceed in that way. Is there anything else anyone would like to add, John, Allison?
We'll continue to work with the town and provide them the information that they need as well, as they move forward with their own analysis. So John will continue to partner with them.
Yes. Okay, so all in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, notice of future meetings. Our next meeting will be on Wednesday, November 18th at 7:30 p.m. at the Horace Greeley Auditorium. And following that will be a meeting on Wednesday, December 9th at 7:30 at the Horace Greeley Auditorium. At this time, I'd like to move that the board go into executive session to discuss contractual issues.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll go into executive session. We do not anticipate coming back to take any action. But we will come back to adjourn the meeting. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. The board has been in executive session discussing matters of contracts and health and safety. May I have a motion and a second to reconvene the public session?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I will move to appoint Dr. Christine Ackerman, Clerk Pro Tem. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn the public meeting?
I move we adjourn at 9:55 a.m.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.